Hey everyone, it's Jessica. Thanks for joining me today. So today I am participating in a YouTube hop with my friends where we take turns each month picking a sketch. It was my turn this month and I picked this fun sketch from Page Maps, and we're all going to use the same sketch and then create around the same theme, which I decided to be is my favorite. So it could be your favorite photo, favorite place, favorite scrapbooking techniques. It was really kind of a broad interpretation of what is your favorite. And one of my favorite things is hexagons. I don't know, I love that shape, especially on scrapbooking layouts. And so I pulled some scrapbooking dies here, or I'm sorry, hexagon dies. And then I also pulled out this sports themed die set that I don't end up using, but I thought maybe I would because this is a volleyball photo. So I'm going to end up using just the one 4x6 in place of the two smaller horizontal pictures. And I've gone through my latest Hip Kit Club subscription that just came in the mail, and I love these fun, colorful patterns, and I'm going to use 4 of them for my layout. Now, the colors and the patterns have nothing to do with our school colors, but I think that's fine. I have so many different sports pictures to do between, this daughter who plays volleyball and another daughter who plays soccer. And I just don't really love their team colors or school colors. And so I'm going to go for like a fun, playful, colorful vibe here and just really kind of, break against the mold and not make them too school themed. I decided to cut that yellow floral paper as the big rectangle on the bottom, which I did cut to 9 3/4 inches by 5 inches, just because I thought that my hexagon die would maybe make it too small and you would lose some of the prettiness of those flowers on the paper. But I did use that die set to cut out these other hexagons from that pattern paper. So I've got a really pretty pink floral one here. It's just got some small flowers on it. That turquoise blue has a fun geometric pattern to it. And then the orange melon color has like kind of a wonky, wavy, like grid design on it. So just some extra little subtle patterns in there. Again, I'm going for that bright and colorful look. Now I am building this on a piece of peach colored cardstock, and I have already matted my photo with a white frame, but it just was getting a little lost and not kind of standing out. So I decided to add even more color by bringing in a lagoon colored piece of cardstock as one extra photo mat. And then I also felt like I needed to introduce a little bit of white just to kind of make some of those colors pop a little bit more in contrast. So I went through some other papers and found actually a little 3x4 Pocket Life tag that had this just white, small black and white polka dot pattern on it. And I was able to get quite a few hexagons cut out of that one little 3x4 piece. And then I did also cut a couple that were, partial cuts, but I thought maybe I could tuck them behind something. I do refer back to that sketch quite a bit, but I start to kind of go off a little bit and do my own thing. But I really love using sketches as a beginning jumping off place, and then you can kind of make it your own from there. So I'm adding a few extra hexagons a little bit differently from what it shows. I tried to put some coming out of the top of my photo like it had in the sketch, but I just really didn't love that on my layout. So before I glue anything down, I do take my photo mat and also that large rectangle and do some quick edge distressing with some coordinating ink colors. And then I'm also going to take my sewing machine and do a little bit of stitching. The other kind of edge distressing that I do is I take my little sanding tool here. It's just on this little disc thing, and I'm going to scratch off the color from my white core cardstock. I love to do that. So I was really trying to embrace that favorite theme and do not only my favorite scrapbooking techniques, but also kind of make it about the photo as well. My oldest daughter is a freshman now, and she is playing on the freshman volleyball team. And so this is kind of new for us, this whole, like high school life kind of thing. And so it's just been a lot of fun, and it really is a favorite. Like, I love game nights. They're really exciting. And it's just a lot of fun watching her play, especially after she's worked so hard these last few years to take on this new sport. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start gluing some things down. I do a little bit of tape runner as well as some liquid glue just because I had that machine stitching on my paper. And when I ran that through my sewing machine, I just did a really wonky kind of perimeter 3 times around, purposefully not making anything straight. That's one of my favorite looks when I do some machine stitching. Another one of my favorite techniques is to add some white splatters with some gloss spray. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out my Dina Wakley white gloss spray here and just kind of tap it against my paper and make some white splatters. I mean, you guys have seen me do these things lots of times before, but like I said, I really wanted to embrace the theme of my favorite in all of the different ways possible. All right, so I went ahead and glued all of those hexagons and things down. And now I'm just going through all the different embellishments that came with this paper collection. So I've got a lot of fun things here. Those word sentiment strips, I think I'll probably end up pulling something off of there. Just lots of things to begin with. And so I did already pull just a couple of ideas. Although actually I'm not sure that I end up using any of these things that I initially pulled, but this was my first thought. So I did have a couple of little journaling spots here, and I was trying to put it in the same kind of place where you could see on the sketch that some journaling lines were. But it just, I don't know, it really didn't feel right. I actually cut a lot of this out because I spent so long trying and kind of moving things around. I just, in the end, I really didn't love having those two, the photo and the journaling block there next to each other. Just something about it didn't look right. It was a little bit better when I tucked the journaling piece underneath the photo, but even so, I don't know, something about it just, it really was not working for me. So I actually had to go sleep on it and come back the next day. And so the next day I was like, all right, let's try this again. This time, maybe let's add some different stuff. So I actually had this little white frame already cut out sitting in my die cut bowl. And I was like, okay, it's a little bit smaller than my photo, but I'm okay with that. I think it's still cute. I'm going to glue it around the corner of the photo that pops up into that peach colored cardstock. So I'll get that glued down and add that on. And that's just kind of a fun little pop of white right there. Just, you know, a tiny little touch. Again, one of my favorite things to do. I did also put some foam squares behind my photo just to pop it up a little bit. And then I also went through all the floral die cuts that came with this paper kit. And once I kind of was playing with them and got some of them laid out, I was like, oh, I don't want to mess with these and move them again. So I just kind of let them be, and I will go ahead and start gluing those down to the page. Some of them I put down just flat to the page, and some I do pop up with some foam tape. But I kept them limited to where those hexagons already were, because I figured those are my 3 clusters, so that's where I'm going to add the flowers. All right, one of my other favorite things to do is to add buttons and of course a little bit of hand stitching. So I'm going to sew my buttons on, and I just had a couple of really tiny little clear buttons. So I went through and poked my holes, and I'll get those sewn on in just a few minutes here. And then I went ahead and thought, okay, I'm going to stamp some journaling lines instead of trying to do that black, and I'm going to glue my title down. Now, idiot me, I was just kind of bopping along, and I was going to say, we love number 13. Well, I got to the number 3, glued it down, and 30 seconds later, I looked at my page and I thought, oh my gosh, she's not number 13. She's number 1. That's just not her number. I don't even know. In my head, I was just and grab the number 3 and put it down. And so, of course, I went to pull it off, and it ripped my paper. So now I'm going to introduce yet another floral cluster to try to cover up my mistake. So I don't know, later when I was showing my husband, he said, well, in 8th grade, she was number 13. And I thought, okay, so I'm not totally crazy. I don't know, I kind of blinked for a minute and I put the wrong number down for the title. And now I don't really love the title, but it is what it is. So I had a bunch of those little sentiment strips from the sticker sheet, and a lot of them really did work thematically for this layout. But I'm just going to go with the one at the bottom. It's kind of a longer strip, and I'm going to glue it down here underneath the photo. And it says something to the effect of watching you grow or play or something like that. I can't remember now. And of course, my eyes are not good enough to see it in the video, but you can see it in the still shots. And then once I had that glued down, I grabbed some white embroidery thread and I went ahead and stitched on all of my buttons to my page. So I'll just go ahead and get those glued down, stitched down, and that's just about it. And so what I want to do is make sure that you guys check out the description box down below. I will leave a link to the playlist where all of my friends will add their videos. So you can see where they have taken the same sketch and made their own version of it and also created around that same theme. So I'm really excited to see how everyone else interpreted it. It's always so much fun seeing what people do. So make sure you check out that playlist in the description box down below. Okay, so here are my buttons. You can see they're just some cute little clear buttons, and they're different shapes and, well, I mean, not different shapes. They're all circles, but they have different like little designs etched into them. So one of my final things I'm going to do, I'm going to grab my white gel pen and just add a couple of details to some of the flowers. I put a couple of dots in the center of two of the flowers and added some little other white details to the other ones, to the petals. And that's going to be it. So yeah, we love number 1, not number 13. Here's another look at that sketch that we used this month from Page Maps. And again, I will leave that link to the playlist in the description box. Thank you so much for being here with me, guys. I hope you have enjoyed and that you are having some opportunities this fall to get crafty. All right, I will see you next time. Happy crafting. Bye.